Hello there! What is going on, everybody? We're going to break down the Rise of Skywalker final trailer for Star Wars Episode 9. And boy, there's a lot to talk about. It has been a wild weekend full of pre-anticipation for this final trailer. And they showed us a lot of stuff, and this one was pretty gut-wrenching. So I'm going to break down this whole thing scene by scene and give you, kind of some of the things we're looking at, some of the things that were said, and some of my hot takes on what is going down here. So first thing is I do want to remind you, if you are new here to the channel, I have a big giveaway going on right now. I'll be announcing the winner the first week of November for a $100 Amazon gift card. If you're interested in entering to win that, you just have to become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Let me know what you think of the trailer, or let me know what you think or what your hopes are for Episode 9. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. And so it starts off what appears to be on Endor. We've seen a lot of jungle scenes. They all seem to be like they're spending some time on Endor, and Rey is running around. She kicks over this helmet. Now, and this is another reason that makes me think this is pretty much probably Endor, is that looks to be very much like a B-Wing pilot helmet. Went back and kind of verified some scenes from Return of the Jedi, and this definitely looks like it's a B-Wing pilot helmet. So, of course, B-Wings were used very heavily at the Battle of Endor, so it stands to reason there very well could be, B-Wing pilot helmets potentially to be kicked around on Endor. So that's pretty cool. Yes, and so she's going around, and you hear Finn kind of talking about, it's an instinct, a feeling. The Force brought us together. And I love seeing Finn talk about the Force because I am always kind of drawn back to Finn using that lightsaber in Episode 7, and I've always wanted to see him get some Jedi training, or at least some lightsaber training, because he used it twice, man. He had 2 lightsaber fight scenes, and then it's like it went away, and he's like, oh, no, I don't want to use it again. I'm like, dude, you did great. You got to score a hit on Kylo Ren. He didn't do great. He did all right, but at least he didn't, he didn't cut his own arm off. And by that measure, he did great. And then, so Rey's jumping around, and she's like transitioning. She's flashing back into like this Episode 7 scavenger stuff. And this is obviously new footage, but it definitely looks just like it's from Episode 7. So they probably, dressed her back up in her Episode 7 garb. And there's definitely some weird stuff going on with Rey. Now, we saw in that, that last teaser, they had the whole Dark Rey thing going on. And I think this is probably feeding into what's going on here because, there's a lot of Rey dialogue here. Now we get a cool scene of like the Resistance having a big meeting. It looks like it's in their hangar bay under the base. And, Poe, we can see Poe over there. We can see Lando right in the middle. Of course, he's got his yellow outfit on. I love that they gave him the yellow in here. And, there's probably a lot of other people, but it's not a real high close-up shot. I was definitely looking for shots of Wedge. I was looking for shots of Leia. I was looking for shots of other people that might be there. Some other Mon Calamari dignitaries, looking for a lot of people that I've kind of hoped to see and wanted to see. And but you can definitely see Poe giving a speech, and and then hear the voiceover is Poe's saying we're not alone, and people will fight if we lead them. And they're trying to rebuild their base or their establishment. This goes back to something I have been wanting all along for Episode 9. Is I've always wanted Episode 9 to have a big space battle, and clearly we're going to get a big space battle. But I've always wanted it to be that we know that the First Order has lots and lots and lots of ships. They have huge fleets. They have ridiculous amount of ships. We only ever see a small group. They've got I think over 100 of those huge Star Destroyers. So even if the Resistance gets a good win, even the damage that was caused in Episode 8 to the First Order's fleet there, that was just a drop in the bucket compared to what they have available, and that's kind of important. So I figured, I had been saying all along, the only way they were actually going to stop the First Order is if the whole galaxy rises up and says, okay, you group of freedom fighters, you don't have to fight our battles for us. You aren't responsible for our freedom. We all are collectively responsible for our freedom. And if the whole galaxy comes together, and it seems like that's one of the things that they're actually working on here. It's not that they had no allies left. It's just that those people were afraid to fight for themselves and stand up and fight for themselves. We get this awesome view of a Corellian Corvette, And it's got the red kind of side markings too. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the Tanta V4 because I'm pretty sure they destroyed that off screen in episode 4. But yeah, it's like it is knocking the trees and stuff. I love seeing capital ships in atmosphere. I mean, knocking over trees. This gives me some ideas for some terrain for Legion. I want to see a downed CR-90 Corvette, or maybe one flying and knocking over my opponent's units. Pretty cool idea. But no, I love this scene. Absolutely love this scene. Then you have Rey. This is the one that really gets me now because they're clearly at the Death Star wreckage here, and Rey is saying people keep telling me that they know me, but no one does. And so this sounds like it's like part of her fear. Maybe she does dance with the dark side in this one. Maybe it wasn't just a vision. Because it certainly sounds like she's going through some problems. I mean, she's got a lot of responsibility. She's the last Jedi now, right? So she's got like the responsibility of the galaxy on her shoulders, maybe. And maybe that's kind of one of the things that goes into this movie is just like Rey feels like she's got to do it all, and then Poe's like, all right, guys, we got to help her out. She can't be the one that's supposed to inspire the entire rebellion or resistance or whatever. We need to have people take responsibility for themselves. But then you hear Kylo Ren be like, but I do, and it's interesting because it's like he's swinging his saber around kind of like either in a reverse grip, because he comes when he's got it forward and he spins it around like he's going to put it behind him. It's either he's putting it into a reverse grip or he's trying to present it to, like, it looks to me like in this scene where he's approaching her in the rain and those splashing waves on the Death Star wreckage, that he's not going to attack her. At least he's approaching from a. I mean, obviously we do see them fighting later on, but it seems like he's at least making the approach of like, hey, I don't want to fight you. I'm here to talk. You're going through a hard time. I've been through a hard time too. Maybe there's something like that. Wishful thinking on my part, I know, because he's still wearing all black. He's still got the red saber, but I'm definitely hoping for that redeemed, Ben Solo or Kylo Ben or something. I'm hoping that's one of the things I really, really, really want to see happen. And I don't want him to be redeemed and then instantly die. I don't want him to pull a Darth Vader and be like, all right, I'm good again. Oh, instantly dead. I'm like, that'd be kind of a bummer. Maybe we'll get a really cool Force Ghost scene if that does happen. You do see the TIEs fly to this ice. I thought it was an island. I thought it was a glacier on an island originally, and then going back and watching again, I'm like, wait a second. The reflections on the bottom don't match up to all of the peaks and stuff on the top. This is more likely an ice asteroid with a city over on the left-hand side. So, it's an ice base. And I'm like, how freaking cool is an ice base? It's like the First Order has, a Hoth base now in space. Or something like that. I freaking love it. It's so cool. And it's just beautiful too. It's really just beautiful. You've got and then you get this whole this Sith throne. It's very like Game of Thrones invoking. It does kind of look like the Iron Throne a little bit. You hear Palpatine's laugh. You see. Now this does kind of mirror. This does kind of mirror like Palpatine's original throne room chair a little bit, but I don't think it's meant to be exactly that. I think it's meant to be more of just a Sith throne, an ancient. I think this is very, very old here. But you hear Palp come in and goes, "Long have I waited, and now your coming together is your undoing." So basically, the heroes kind of grouping together is going to somehow trigger, is going to be part of Palpatine's plan. So Palpatine's apparently back into it. Oh, you see this fleet of ISD-1s rise up from under the water, and maybe that's where they were in that first teaser where we got to see this whole fleet of Star Destroyers. Imperial 1 Star Destroyers. Right, and there's something else because they have this whole different gun assembly we're going to see later on. And of course, the most epics of all scenes, this thing. Oh my goodness, it's just magnificent. We're getting I could talk for hours on just this because there are so many ships in the background. You've got the Ghost right here. You got the Shadowcaster right, but like behind the dish. You got a round dish on the Falcon. So now a lot of people, I had questioned this because like when this thing first surfaced, I had made another video talking about it. But I was like, wait, is this a flashback? Could they go back to the round dish? No, but had to be reminded that the rectangular dish did get blown off on Crate. So they did, apparently they're going back to a round dish. Especially if Lando is back in play, it might make sense that he goes back to the round dish, because that's something that he had. But we're seeing so many other ships here. We're seeing Nebulons. We're seeing what might be even MC-30s. We're seeing MC-75s, the Profundity from Rogue One, if you're not familiar with MC-75. We're seeing, Nebulons. We're seeing all kinds of, we're seeing Peltas. We're seeing, like, some even Clone War era ships in here. Amazing stuff. There's, I think, it looks like Wookiee gunships. There's almost every ship you can ever imagine is here, and this includes some ships from Legends, because like this one underneath the Falcon, I can't quite get to it, but the one underneath the Falcon looks an awful lot like one of these. I think it was actually an Imperial ship out of Legends, but not 100% sure. We got to see some closer up stuff, but there's so many ships. Like they just said, you know what? Give me all of the ships. Let's just do everything. Which ships do you want? All of them. All of them. Absolutely love it. And on top of ships, we're getting a boat, a Star Wars boat. So that's kind of cool. A little rafty. This actually looks an awful lot like an early version of that sand skimmer. It's like probably the same general type of design, just meant to work on water that we saw in Episode 8. I don't think we're going to see a whole big naval battle. I just think it's an opportunity for them to throw in a cool new vehicle. We got like little Babu Freak here working on C-3PO, and going back to that very first poster where we saw C-3PO with the crossbow, it definitely seems like that's pretty much confirmed to happen. C-3PO is going to go kind of nuts here, and he says, Poe's like, "What are you doing, 3PO?" And he goes, "Taking one last look at my friends," and it's like it's really sad. It's I kind of dig that. We get Poe's new friend over here, first time actually seeing her in the trailer, but yeah. So I'm curious if her relationship to 3PO and Babu Frick and like this whole droid workshop thing is significant, or if they just happen to meet beforehand and then come here. I don't really know. That doesn't sound like as interesting to me as everything else, though. But yeah, this is kind of a sad, a little bit of a tearjerker moment, because not just that, I see droids maybe aren't going to die. Maybe he's incorporating himself into the circuitry kind of in a L3 kind of solo fashion, or maybe he just knows he's going to be reprogrammed to be something different, so he's not going to cease to exist as he is now anymore. That's kind of my guess. But there's a duality to his words here, because this is it. This is the end. And as exciting as a new Star Wars trailer is, this is kind of sad, right? This is the end of, at least of the Skywalker saga. There's more cool stuff lined up. We're going to have Thrawn, and we're going to have, some Old Republic stuff, and we're going to have the Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian and all of that stuff, and that's great. But still, having this be the final episode is sad. There's a little part of me that's just like, I don't care what you do, because even no matter how cool it is, there would be nothing else for me to look forward to afterwards. Right? And that's kind of that finality. So that's kind of one of the things I'm going to be going into this movie kind of feeling like, how are you going to leave me not leaving the theater in tears, or with this sense of doom and gloom that like my favorite franchise is over now. Like that's so it, and I'm being over dramatic about that, because there is more, and I know that there's more, but there's still going to be that feeling of kind of like of finality to everything after this. So we get a cool scene of Finn and Poe and Chewie storming, I guess, an Imperial Star Destroyer here, which is pretty cool. They're kind of just running and gunning and, doing classic, action hero things. And we get this same scene of Leia hugging Rey. They had said early on that they, were just reusing footage of Episode 7 from Leia. The only scene they really show of Leia in any of the footage that we've ever seen is just this same scene. She's been in, every trailer we just see this same scene over and over and over again. This tells me two things. Leia's other scenes are probably so significant that they might be too spoilery to show, or the other thing is there are probably very, very few Leia scenes. Like, there may be more audio dialogue than actual, like, she's on the radio but not really there or something like that. I think there's going to be very few Leia scenes, and they're doing this just to remind you that Carrie Fisher is in the movie. Oh, and by the way, yesterday, happy birthday, Carrie Fisher. But yeah, I'm afraid there's going to be very few. My guess is there'll be very few Leia scenes, so don't get your hopes up for a whole lot of Leia. They had to kind of work with what they had available, and so, like, let's not criticize them over the lack of Carrie Fisher scenes. I think the fact that they did what they could is great. This is just kind of a reminder of that there probably won't be that much if they're using the same one scene over and over again. We get a scene of a Y-Wing going in after making an attack run on one of these new ISD-1s. And here's why I say it's a little different, because you get to look at this huge cannon mounted underneath this ISD-1. Oh my goodness. This is awesome. This ventral monster cannon is really exciting. And it basically, from some analysis from the first shot, this is not like the only one. Like, there's lots, if not all, of these Star Destroyers are equipped with this, and that's one of the things why they were hidden. It's like this, they're going to be really, really strong, and yeah. So hopefully these Y-wings can take out some of that weaponry. It looks like it's going to be pretty awesome, and Fleet Junkies will have lots of cool stuff to talk about, and Star Wars Armada players have a lot of hope after watching this trailer too, because there's so much cool stuff out there right now. It's just very exciting, and X-Wing players too. There's a whole lot of. And Legion player. If you play any Star Wars games, there's a whole lot of new candy here for you. Or Battlefront or Star Wars video games. It's exciting. And then of course, Old Town Road makes its way into Star Wars. And, and Finn and Janna are like, they're riding on these horses. You got these horses all over the place. It's freaking awesome. Like, I think it's really cool that they're just riding horses. I think that's really, really cool. It's it feels pretty empowering. It feels pretty awesome. Something that hasn't really been done in Star Wars before, so I'm down with it. This scene right here. This scene is beautiful. I love this shot. I love the lighting. I love the way that they're looking. I love the whole way this frame is captured. Everything about this scene. This is, like, so good. So good right here. A couple of things about this scene. Obviously, this is even more confirmation. This is the Death Star 2. It's Palpatine's throne room. And, there is a couple of things. First off, notice Kylo Ren does not have his lightsaber ignited. He doesn't have his mask on either. I feel like this is, and of course this is echoing Return of the Jedi almost perfectly. It feels like they're going to fight here, right? Why? Well, because they're facing each other in the classic duel ground, but also Rey has her lightsaber ignited. Why does she have her lightsaber ignited and he doesn't? Who's attacking first? Seems like Rey is attacking first. And the Force is supposed to be used for knowledge and defense, never for attack. Rey is possibly going down the dark path here. And I feel like it's going to be Ben Solo that goes to redeem her. And then they show this later in the trailer. It looks like this is still from the Death Star scene before, Kylo Ren gets there, or maybe after, where Finn is yelling after Rey. He's trying to get her to come back. Like, it goes back to when she's talking about people think they know me, nobody does, or whatever. And I feel like she's maybe even running away from the whole group. She's with the group for a little bit, but there's a whole lot of other scenes where she's not with the group, and that's like what seems like what's going on here. And then this is mysterious. This is really mysterious. First off, it's white interior, so it looks like it's on board some type of rebel ship. It doesn't look like it's on board an Imperial ship because of the white interior. Very cool looking interior too, by the way. I hope it's a Mon Calamari ship. But that being said, Kylo Ren has his mask on, which is strange in this particular scene because he's got it off in so many other scenes. And Rey has her lightsaber, but they're not fighting each other. They're attacking this black statue, and it's really hard to make out exactly what it is. But it looks like, it certainly looks out of place. But it's a black statue, and they both shatter it together. So they're certainly working together in this particular scene. And as it shatters, like, it almost looks like it was like the Darth Vader mask that Kylo Ren had. It almost looks like that. And so this is just, there's so many questions here. Also, Rey has a dagger in her left hand. So she's got the lightsaber in her right hand. She's holding this dagger in her left hand. That dagger is probably significant I wonder if it's like some kind of Sith artifact that's imbued with Palpatine's essence or the dark side or something like that. That dagger, I think, is significant because, yeah, like she doesn't even need it in this scene. She's just like, like holding two weapons, like dual wielding, but you don't need to dual wield if you're just slicing an inanimate object, and you also have help. I just don't get it. So I'm really curious what's going on here. It looks like it was some type of statue of Darth Vader, though, and it looks like they're, not knowing much about the plot, I'm thinking, oh, they're conquering the dark side together, even though, wait, then why is he wearing the mask? Like so many weird things. This scene is great. So it goes back to the horse riding. It looks like they're attacking a fleet of Imperial Star Destroyers on horseback. It takes that first horseback scene, makes it like 1,000 times cooler. You see some of the new TIE fighters, the triangle wing TIE fighters, up in the distance. Oh, and by the way, we get an X-wing and a B-wing in pursuit. I love it. B-wings are my favorite fighter. So yeah, like I'm sold, man. This is great. This is just so cool. I'm blown away. And here again, and if you look at the silhouettes of some of these Star Destroyers, you can see some of those big ventral cannons on the bottoms. So, you can see, I don't think it was just one, but I'm not sure if they all have it or not. And that's really the key. It could just be a more robust fleet rather than every single ship is the exact same configuration. It's going to be very interesting. And, of course, we get Luke talking about, confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny. And then it goes on further. You hear Palpatine's laugh here. It looks like, I'm guessing this might be this throne or another flashback or something, because look where she is. She's like, it's just totally flat and there's nothing there. It looks like Palpatine. It looks like she's facing Palpatine here. Could be mistaken. This could be a misdirection, but that's what it looks like to me. And then Luke says, the Force will be with you. But then it transitions into Leia saying, always. And that was good. So, and the look on Daisy Ridley's face here too. It looks like she's crying. She's like she's. This reminds me of that duality, like when Mark Hamill or when Luke Skywalker was on the Death Star 2 fighting Darth Vader, and Darth Vader mentions sister, and Luke like he's really being torn between the dark side and the light, and the way the lighting was, how half of his face was dark and half of his face was light. You kind of see that in this shot here. I'm not sure if that's what they're trying to convey, but it looks really cool. Anyway, guys, that's about everything. There's so much more to talk about, but this is the final trailer. There will probably be some TV spots or some like international trailers that come out with like another like snippet, a new frame or two. Maybe we'll see one more ship that we didn't have a good look at from like that giant space battle. There's so much more to talk about, but so I kind of wanted to get through everything. We'll definitely be covering this more. I can't wait. And if you guys are not fans of the sequel trilogy, that's fine too. I would guess in about 20 years, people will look back at the sequel trilogy the same way a lot of people now will look back at the prequels. But just hey, if people want to enjoy it, let them enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, that's great. And if you know somebody that doesn't like it, then that's fine too. Everybody just like what you like, and let's all get along. But I'm really excited. It looks like it's going to be a blast, and I hope so. I absolutely hope so. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there are links down below. So thank you guys so much. And as always, have a great day.